Actually love this week's reincarnation, the spiral staircase. It kind of reminds me of, just it's like this big play. You've got this director up there that's directing this whole play, and then everyone's got these parts. And if you've ever watched a series, I'm sure none of you have, on Netflix or one of those things where you start watching them and the evolution of each one of the characters. And next thing you know, you switch from Netflix to a Prime Video or something and watch another series that was done in a different era, in a different time, with the same actor. And they're playing a completely different character. And, I just imagine us trying to sit here with our simple minds thinking, oh, what do I need to do? What's happening here? What character am I playing now? What do I need to get out of this character? Where do I need to be? But, we think so linearly and quite small. And it was hilarious. I was sitting in meditation today before this started, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I've been reading what this week's about, and I'm trying to, come up with a chat and a story, and I'm sitting there in meditation, and I'm thinking, how arrogant are we? Like, we sit here thinking with this little human ego about, trying to talk about this great presence, this all existing thing, and it's so amazing to sort of sit and be here. So that's what this is kind of about. It's a bit of a play on reincarnation and the spiral staircase. And actually where that came from is from Whispers of Eternity, the poem God, God, God. So I'm going to start by reading that. And the first words of God, God, God are kind of the interesting thing about it, which is where this reading came from. It says, God, 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 from the depths of slumber, as I ascend the spiral stairway of wakefulness, I will whisper, God, God, God. Thou art the food, and when I break my fast of nightly separation from thee, I will taste thee and mentally say, God, God, God. No matter where I go, the spotlight of my mind will ever keep turning on thee. And in the battle din of activity, my silent war cry will be, God, God, God. When boisterous storms of trials shriek, and when worries howl at me, I will drown their noises, loudly chanting, God, God, God. When my mind weaves dreams with threads of memories, then on that magic cloth will I emboss, God, God, God. Every night in time of deepest sleep, my peace dreams and calls joy, joy, joy. And my joy comes singing evermore, God, God, God. In waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving, my soul will constantly hum unheard by any. God, God, God. That's such a beautiful, beautiful I believe that it's one that we should all really try and remember. Joseph said that's something that we should really read and remember it off by heart, and me too. So I just read it. So yeah, we've all got these amazing things. Before I do start, I do have a dad joke. So you have to imagine little Tommy, he's a little farm boy. He's collecting the eggs off the chicken. And he looks up his dad with a little snotty runny nose and his bare feet running around collecting eggs. He says, Dad, why can't chickens talk? And his dad's like, I don't know. I've never really thought of it. Little Tommy goes, he said, because they don't think outside of the box. Sorry. That's my little dad joke. And it's kind of is a little bit in relation to what this is. We're talking about. It's reincarnation's kind of an interesting thing. And the minute we talk about reincarnation, our mind gets lost and thinking, oh, I wonder what I was in my previous life, was you come across a cat that you enjoyed and you're thinking, oh, I definitely knew that cat before. And a dog or even a plant or a tree that you hug or a part of something or someone that you meet, your mind always starts thinking, oh, I wonder where I knew them from and where they come from. And Davey was telling a story that Swami was entertaining I forget who it was, but it was someone quite spiritual that had come to the US, and they had a bit of a banquet, and Davey was kind of come over to serve Swami. And just at that same time, Swami said to this sage, or this important person that was there, he said, what's really important? He said, every person in this room is in absolute connection and joy with Yogananda. It's such an interesting thing. And it was like he was saying, like, we've all had these past lives with Yogananda. That's why we're here. And I kind of have to agree, like anyone that's in Australia, and you think about this, we've got people from all over Australia that have never probably been to even an Ananda center, but we've found Yogananda, our guru, like it's such an interesting thing. We've all had interesting past lives. We've got people from all over that all have this one connection, which is Yogananda, so it's kind of like, when you think of reincarnation, you think of, oh yeah, we've all been brothers and sisters or family members, and we've all got these little things that we kind of have to work out. But I want to pose a question to you around that, and that is, knowing past lives, other than interest, what does it serve? What's its purpose? And do you think if it did serve something, that we would have longer memories? Like, we've got pretty short memories, don't we? We've got these little memories of only this certain period of time. And I'm gonna keep talking, but just as we're going through today, just have a little think, like, what does it matter? Like, what does it matter if I was, a peasant or whatever it was, but just have a think, what does it serve to actually do that? So the interesting thing about reincarnation, it is actually intertwined with karma, and that's kind of the principle behind reincarnation, is this karma. Karma is basically that we've made choices that are not in tune with the higher consciousness. The more we're bound to the wheel of reincarnation, so the more we sort of make these choices against this flow of energy or this direction to God, we're sort of become more bound. And the law of karma states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So, we see that in all that we do. And so really, until that karma is balanced out, so we've opposed that force of away from God in that presence, and then that gets neutralized and moves it across. And we're very blessed on this path, and we'll talk about it a bit later on, about how we've got extra help on this way. We have this extra bit of help with this energy that's going that way. And everything in life is a truth, particularly that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It has a particular truth, and we see it in daily life. We see it in everything that we do. And if I can give an example, a motorbike is a classic example of physics in motion. You have centrifugal force that keeps a motorbike up. You put energy towards something, it heads in a direction. Now, to change that direction, we have to fight the forces that we've already put into play. So we have to fight the speed at which it's heading in that direction. We have to fight the centrifugal force that's keeping it upright, because to change a direction, we have to change the angle and move it away from the direction that it's heading in. So we have to find this balance between slowing it down, getting rid of the energy that's heading in that direction, but then we have to match the force against the centrifugal force that wants to keep us upright. So we have to use weight to bring us and move it in that direction. So in life, we have all these things that tell us that, yeah, this is a true action or something that we need to overcome. And if we think about karma and reincarnation, we have to keep learning these lessons. So every time we come in to do that. And the second thing I want you to think about why we're talking about this is, in your daily life or over the years that you've been on this planet, what's something that just keeps constantly popping up? You think, man, where did that come from? And was it helpful? Did it create negativity? Did it create harm? But that certainly happened before I could even think about it. I spoke words or I did an action before I actually thought about it. being on this path, you start picking it up slightly, or if you're meditating, you might hear a word every now and again that says, oh, don't say that, or hold your tongue, or you know what I mean? Like do something a little bit different. But we come in with these actions that we have to overcome. And while we're sitting here, if you think about those actions, albeit negative or things that keep happening to you, Swami talks about the priest that left his, he was a monk that left his group because he didn't get along with people. And he caught up with him a few days later. And what happened? He said, well, I've now met 12 people that were 10 times worse than the one person that I actually had conflict with. So it's always this play or this action that's in play until we actually meet this force that we're going along. So if you think about that motorbike that's heading in that direction and the different forces, they're just two that I'm talking about, centrifugal and momentum, that we have to overcome. Think about what we've brought into this lifetime and those little actions that keep popping up, negativity or changing those actions. We actually have to change the perspective of that. We have to meet it with those equal force. So we have to slow it down, then we have to change it. And it's kind of an interesting thing when you start thinking about it. So whether it's judgment, sometimes, you'll hear someone that's very judgmental on something and what people are doing and all those kind of things. How do I change that? If that's a lesson that I need to, you've got to think, is that getting me closer? Is it on the direction that is either going to give me more karma or less karma and keep me in this action? So how do I change that? I've got to equal the force that it's heading in this direction in the other way. And so if it's hate, you've got to replace it with love, and you've got to supersede that. You've got to put all that energy into loving more, rather than the anger or the hatred that comes in, or the frustration, or those kind of things. We have to, yes, we can keep affirming and go, yes, I know that I need to do these things, and I'm going to do affirmations, I'm going to, but ultimately we have to change that energy. Doing the affirmation might just change the speed. We might start slowing something down, but we need to match that force and keep that moving. And so it's kind of, we've been given all these tools. We know all this path. We have all these amazing things that we keep going on. And I'll give you an example of that in daily life. As a child, I grew up in the surf, and every day you would go down the surf, and you see lots of kids when they go down the beach, they all do the same thing. These waves come in and they carry lots of energy, don't they? It's a bit like our karma. This energy is coming into us. And as a child, I just always dreamed of being out the back. I used to say, I want to be out the back where that calm water is. And then I can choose which waves I want to come in on. But of course, when you're young, you just are like, yep, I'm going to plow into it. And you plow into the white water and you get tumbled, you get sand up your nose, you come in and you get exhausted quickly, and my dad used to say to him, you've got to go under the waves, like under the waves. Yeah, I am, Dad, I am, I know better. So you jump in under the waves that you thought were under the waves, into the white water again and tumble and get thrown back. And then in frustration, you'd be like, no, I want to be out the back, Dad, but it's not working. It's not. He said, no, go down and hold the sand, let the wave, wash over you. And eventually you'd get that little trick, wouldn't you? You'd dive in and you'd hold the sand and the wave would wash over you. But you still weren't getting out there that quick. You'd just pop up and the next wave would come and you'd keep going down. And so until you match that energy under the water, below the turbulence, then you'd start getting out the back and you'd start feeling this freedom of being not tied up with all these waves and washing and doing those things. So we have this ability to do that. We match this path. We have this path of Kriya Yoga. We have a guru. And we know that our effort is 100%, but it's only 25% of that effort. We have 25% is guru's grace, and 50% is God's grace. So when you start thinking about what we're doing and the energy that we're putting in, yes, we need to start thinking on this path and helping each other. It's like where am I at? Where am I sitting? Where am I on this? What are the little lessons that I need to learn? And we've, over the last few weeks, talked about everyone being on their own path and finding these lessons. But that internal introspection of what's holding us back in the now. So don't forget, all the past has got us to where we are now. You know, it's like walking out the door and going to a meeting, and then during the meeting, you get a text saying, oh, by the way, you left this, and it's, you know, there's nothing that you can actually do about it. You have to come up with a different solution. So what we need to do now is think, where we're all here now, we need to find God. We all want to find God. Let's use our meditation, use these tools of affirmation, use all the energy that we can to change that direction away from this karmic cycle that we're in, because that's the one way to get around and outside of it. So whatever comes is what it comes. We just face it with this amazing challenge of, well, let's change that energy. Let's work together. Communities, again, this amazing opportunity for us all to support those things. They're all these simple lives of being together, using that energy together, pulling each other up. Sometimes it's a hard truth. I mean, you look at all these great masters, and essentially they were just mirrors of them, of who you were. They'd hold up a mirror. Sometimes you don't want to see what is in the mirror, but until we overcome it and change the direction of where we want to be. And that is the purpose of meditation, is to sit silent enough and be silent enough to hear what we need to learn and see those things. And it's being still, being open to change and moving us forward. You know, don't change the circumstance, change us to bring us forward and move in this path, in this lesson. So that's that stairwell that we're talking about. God, God, God. That poem is so powerful in relation to and I'll read the last section of it again just to close up. It is waking, eating, working, dreaming, sleeping, serving, meditating, chanting, divinely loving. My soul will constantly hum unheard by any. God, God, God. Let's use that energy. Retrospect, think this week, what is it that keeps popping up in my life that I feel like I have no control over? Because ultimately we've brought it across. And that's the things that we overcome. Often they cause the most resistance in relation to those things. And of course, like the affirmation, perseverance. We keep supporting each other, building each other up. Every time we fall, let's climb back up. We're still heading in that direction. We want to find God together. Well,